What is vanilla? A topic people argue about from time to time in any Minecraft community, and today I'll try to give you an answer. Or rather, a non-answer, because if there will be a universal answer like vanilla Minecraft is this, then we wouldn't have the discussion today. I think the real answer depends on context and expectations, and the reason why people are still arguing about what's vanilla is because they try to mix multiple contexts together. Here is a quick example. Minigame server like iPixel. Is it vanilla? From various angles, definitely not, but it is vanilla in a sense that you can use a vanilla client to connect to that server. Another example, redstone contraptions. When you see a vanilla tutorial on YouTube, you expect that you can just take this design, build it in your world, and as long as this tutorial is made for your version of Minecraft, it will work like a charm. So, let's start with the vanilla survival. What does one expect from the vanilla survival? I think it is being able to recreate somebody else's experience, and if there are alterations, they shouldn't affect it way too much. For example, Hermitcraft. While they run modified server code and they have data packs for custom mob heads and armor stands, the main bulk of content featured in Hermitcraft is still something you can do in your own world. You can build Sahara in your world, you can make a giant drone base in your world, and even weird stuff like this. And when it comes to building, they use the same blocks as others do, and while it is harder to do what Zombie Cleo does because she uses custom armor stands a lot, you can build in the same style still. Like, many people watch those plays to get inspired to do their own stuff based on what they have seen in those videos, and that's why I think it is important to put a vanilla label only on cases when it is possible to transfer that inspiration into your own world. Let's take away the Rose Farm from my survival series as an example. While I am playing on a modified server, Pepper's Pig that is, and not everything works there as it works in the unaltered game, I am not taking advantage of Claim Protection plugin to protect my farm from wither projectiles. I have found a vanilla way to do this, and thus you can use this farm in your world. A tutorial will be in the iCards. But here is a counterexample. A quad witch hut farm. While it is possible to make one in survival, you need to use one of special seeds to have a quad witch hut in your world. So, unless you generate a world with a specific goal in mind, it is not possible in your survival world. Also, if one uses strong shaders or resource packs which significantly alter the looks, I would consider it as non-vanilla, because it changes the way you build, and building cool looking things is a major part of Minecraft experience. Of course that depends on a resource pack, because I have altered textures for observers, droppers, redstone dust, etc., but aesthetic textures are still untouched. Now let's move to technical Minecraft, and here is where the line between vanilla and non-vanilla is way more strict. Technical vanilla has to run on the original server code or on a server designed to act as the original code. You see, technical Minecraft relies on tons of little quirks and hidden mechanics, and any code alterations may result in something working differently from the original code, and when people watch technical videos, they expect it to work exactly the same in their worlds. And when it comes to modified code, we can run into problems. For example, I have made a general mob farm in my survival series, but because it is Paper's Piglet, mobs were despawning earlier than they should. Or in case of my sheep farm, it produces less wool because mob AI on the server is processed slowly than in the original game. Or here is another example. With Carpet mod you can enable some cool features like pushable inventories or auto crafting table. But those who play without Carpet mod can't use contraptions relying on these features. I mean, it is still cool, but it's useless in a way. So, I think in these two cases, Minecraft Vanilla is when you can recreate somebody else's experience in your world with the original client and the original server. You don't need mods, resource pack, data pack, special settings, etc. in order to get it to work. Well, you can have them. I have a Shulkable viewer mod, for example, but then if something works differently, then it is your own fault. I want to talk about Forge and Spigot for a little bit. While spiritually Forge and Spigot without additional plugins are still pretty much vanilla, they changed those little technical quirks on how mobs spawn, or how chunks load, or how blocks interact with each other, etc. etc. Or here is an example. If Spigot lags, it can't skip ticks, which means any redstone contraption will malfunction and break rather quickly, even if they work like a charm on the original code. So, I have to say this. Spigot, Sponge, Forge, etc. are not vanilla, and do not play on a regular Spigot if you do redstone. Just don't. Your redstone will inevitably break because of it. Paper Spigot is not that bad though, it doesn't have that quote-unquote feature of skipping ticks. Now let's talk about custom minigames and adventure maps. In this case, the vanilla term is more liberate because there is only one requirement. It has to run on the original code of the game, both server and client. You can toss resource packs, data packs, command blocks, etc. If something is technically supported by the game, you can use it. The whole purpose of custom maps is to create unique experience. Bedrock Marketplace is a great example of high quality and also very different content that can be created in this game. And because this content can run on the original client in its internal server, this is what I would call vanilla for custom maps. Vanilla Creative. This is an unusual one because it is very unpractical to do creative without any external tools. You want to have your world edit, you want to have your voxel sniper, carpet mods, Ludotic warps, Lightmatica, etc. etc. But when it comes towards vanilla, I think it depends on what you're building for. If you're making an adventure map, you can do command blocks then, custom armor stands, etc. And if you're making a blueprint for survival, you should keep survival restrictions in mind. Next we have custom servers, minigames, skyblocks, whatever. Basically, these are outright modded servers with one major restriction. They are developed for vanilla clients, and it's not enough to just support them. Business side of things pushes developers to develop primarily for vanilla clients, which means there are limitations on blocks and items and custom GUIs and stuff like that. So, when they say vanilla, they mean it is designed with vanilla client in mind, not vanilla gameplay experience. And before the fully fledged modded, there is one more step. If I would start a single player world, it is probably going to be this one. How about modded Minecraft that's compatible with vanilla worlds and thus can be updated? The issue with your traditional modded with Forge is that if you are started a 1.12 world, it will be forever in 1.12, which isn't that good for a long-term world. But if you pack together some resource packs, data packs and mods which don't introduce new blocks, you can update your world when a new version will come out. Some features may be lost in a transition, but it is the case with original Minecraft as well. So, in this context, vanilla means that your world is still compatible with the original game and thus can be updated. So, yeah, this is my take on what is vanilla Minecraft. For survival, vanilla it is when you can recreate somebody else's experience with the original game. And for minigames, it is when you can use the original client to play. Bye bye.